everyone, I'm Jodi and welcome to my channel. I'm really glad that you are here today. So we are going to talk about spring makeup from the drugstore, and we're going to go and put on a really fun spring look on the lighter side, but using some pinks and some neutral nude type colors. If you are looking forward to embracing the trends for spring, but in a more maturely modified fashion, then I think this look might be something that you will really like. We are going to use the Blush Crush palette by ColourPop. So if you have this palette, great, grab it and you can do this look with me. If you don't, then just grab a couple colors. You'll want to grab a dark color that are more on the matte side, a medium color that's on the matte side, and then a lighter color that is on the matte side, and then one shimmery color, but that shimmery color should be between your lightest and your medium color. So that shimmer we want to be the lightest shimmer perhaps that you have, but that will still show up. And once you have all that together, you'll be able to create this look as we're gonna go through step by step. Thank you to those of you that have asked for some fun spring looks. I'm excited to bring you guys that. What else? I had something else I wanted to share with you. You know, I use Revitalash. I love Revitalash. And it's not a sponsored video. It's not sponsored by Revitalash, although they should sponsor me because I use their product every day. It's linked down below in my essentials. But they did send me a nice gift package from their PR team. And it has not only the Revitalash that I use, but Revitalash for brow, which is why it's called Revitabrow, not Revitalash, but Revitabrow. And it's an Allure makeup winner from 2020. And I have not tried the brow yet. So have you guys tried this? I'm curious to see what you think of it. And then there's also this lash and brow mask, which I have not used a mask before for my lashes or my eyebrows. But if you think about a mask for your hair on your head, that makes total sense. So I'm really looking forward to giving those two a try. Thanks, Revitalash. I really do appreciate this, and I will let all my subscribers know what I think of the product. So now let's go to the most unpleasant part of the video, where I start with no makeup on and we build our way back up to this look. If you want to join me with the spring look, then get your makeup out and let's get started. All right, you guys, so we are gonna do this in about 20 minutes or less. I'm gonna hopefully do it in 15, but I tend to get a little chatty with you, which is why it's called Get Ready With Me, so we'll see. I never know how long it's gonna take, but I try to hold it to 15 to 20 minutes. So we're gonna start with the Double Wear Moisturizer, which I love, from LaRoche-Posay. Because it has niacinamide in it, I already have my sunscreen on, and I'm just gonna take like a dab of that, and I'm going to mix it with, I feel like we're gonna be scientists today. Then I'm gonna mix it with the L'Oreal Infallible 24-hour wear. Now the reason I like this is because when you cut it with moisturizer, and when I say cut it, I just mean, you know, kind of half and half of each. It takes the full coverage foundation and turns it into more of a tinted moisturizer consistency. It's a little bit less full coverage, a little bit more on the medium coverage, which I like for spring and summer, but I still like coverage. And then I'm gonna add just a shot of this Halo by Smashbox. And that's just gonna give it a little extra glow, which is always nice in the springtime. And I don't think this comes in colors, and this has hyaluronic acid in it, which I've really been loving this. It's a nice glossy, let me see if I can just show you. You can't really see it on my science experiment, but well, I'll put this on and then I'll show you how fun that is. I highlighted it in another video, I think, but it's always fun to just go back. And then I just kind of press that everywhere and mix it as I go, so I can get good coverage, but a little bit of a glow. And you can see how that full coverage turns into a little bit more of a medium coverage, but still has good coverage. And you can still see my skin through it. And that's the look we're going for with spring. I love springtime because I love tulips. They're my second favorite flower. I love hydrangeas first. And I think I love hydrangeas because it's like 50 flowers in one flower, you know? And so I think they're just beautiful. So while we're waiting for the hydrangeas to come up, tulips are just so, so pretty. Do you guys have a favorite spring flower? And then in tulips, there's so many different colors, right? Up in the Pacific Northwest where I live, we have lilacs that come out right around, you know, the beginning of May, and they smell so good. So that's always a favorite for me too, going into kind of that early summer, is lilacs. But speaking of smells, this candle behind me is called Sprinkled Birthday Cake. And I bought it because of that pink color, because it just matched my pink and my logo so well. And I'm like, that is beautiful. You guys, it smells so good. You know how in the fall, see, this is why these videos end up lasting 20 minutes, because I pause to talk. You know in the fall when you have like those pumpkin spice candles and they just smell so good, embraces that time of the year. This does that for me for like spring. It's just such a robust smell, but not such a strong one that you're like, ugh. It's strong enough to make me want to go raid the kitchen for every cookie and cake batter that's in there. So I may not be able to have it going for too long. All right, and now I am just going to go back to that foundation because I want a little more coverage on my eyelids so I'm just going back to the Infallible. I want a little more coverage on my eyelids because they're a little purpley today, and I want everything to be one solid monocolor so we can lay down some of the pink eyeshadow and we get the true payout of that color. So the more I can take out any of this purple in my eyes, the better. Now I am going to use a little bit of a color corrector also. So here's that Smashbox by Halo I was talking about. It's just a nice creamy, it's a primer, but it has plumping and hyaluronic acid properties in it, which I really have enjoyed. And I can tell the difference in my foundation when I put this on. It just gives a nice healthy glow. Now for under my eyes, I'm going to use this One Step color corrector. This is by Stila. And I've really enjoyed using this because it has a little bit of yellow in it, as you can see, to tone down the purple that's under my eyes. This comes in a few different formulas with different colors depending on what skin color you're trying to camouflage or color correct. I just need to cover up a little of this purpley under my eyes, so I'm gonna use this one. And what I like about it is it feels as though it has a little bit of a serum in it to just add some plumping properties underneath my eyes so that before I go to add some concealer, which again, this is color corrector to neutralize the purple tones, and then we'll go back with a concealer as soon as that sort of sits in there and takes away some of that purple. Okay, while that's doing its thing, I'm gonna grab this Millani pack, and I've really loved this one, and this comes with it's got blush, it's got a highlighter and some bronzers right through here. Now the colors, you guys, on this is blush shimmer and this is blush matte. So I can't really tell you the color because that is the name of the color. I'm gonna go in with this darker blush, which is the blush matte, and I'm just gonna take that on an angled brush. Now the key to a kind of a springy, fun, fresh look, once you have that blush on your brush, it's too early in the morning for me to say that fast 3 times. Then I'm just gonna look for the bottom of my eyebrow and draw that line straight down to the highest point of my cheek. And that's kind of where I wanna start that color. And then from there, you just wanna sweep it up and blend. So we're gonna put it a little higher than we normally would and then blend it just a little bit as if it was a contour, but it's not. We just want a nice soft look. And then you'll just go up as if it's a little bit of a contour, but not much, because we don't want to look like we just got done working out. We don't want to look like we have a sunburn. We just want to look like we've just been kissed by the sun. You can certainly use cream blush for this. It's same process. I think I've got my Kiko Milano here. If you're more comfortable with cream, which absolutely as we age, it's easier. It usually lasts longer and looks better. You identify that spot and then put your blush right there. Now I would typically, if I was trying to be pretty precise with it, I would get it on a brush and then I would place it, but we don't need to be that precise today. We're trying to do a quick spring look. Now you can do what I just did and put your 2 together. If that's the case though, put your cream first and then your powder. But I just wanted to show you what that would look like if you wanted to use a cream instead. Same placement. And then just rub it kind of again back in sort of that C so that you're going along your hairline and up, but with a soft, soft blend. Now that that corrector has been sitting under my eyes, I'm gonna go back up to that. And I'm just gonna use a little bit of the foundation that I was using earlier. If you have a concealer that you love, you could use a concealer. Because it's spring, I just don't want a heavy concealer under my eyes. And because I've got that color corrector on there, now I can just go over it with a little bit more of a thicker foundation and blend that all away. Now, if you don't want to use a foundation at all and you're not a foundation person, then you can use a concealer or a more full coverage foundation just to do any corrections, any cover any imperfections that you have. If you have like a little red spot that you don't love, or if you have whatever it is that you want to cover, you could just do that with a little blend of some moisturizer and some foundation. You can use just a little bit of concealer. If you love a concealer but it's a little thick for spring, just cut it with a little bit of moisturizer. So you can customize the formula to get the consistency that you're looking for. Now I'm gonna go back into this palette and clean off my blush brush. And there's a couple eyeshadows in this palette which are really, really pretty. And then there's this nice blush right here that is called Shimmer Blush. I'm gonna go back and forth between that shimmer blush and this highlight over here. Now what I love about this palette, you guys, this palette is such a nice complete palette because it has everything you need from highlight to bronze to 3 shadows. So I'll make sure I link this down below because it's a good palette to pick up. It does come with a big mirror in it. And it is cardboard, which I'm not a big fan of cardboard, but for the price point, I would much rather have a cosmetic company spend money on the quality of the product itself than the packaging. That just gives a nice kind of healthy glow to the skin. Next, we will go in to fix our eyebrows, and I'm gonna go with the Kiko Milano. And this is a triangle edge. Now, the reason I like this triangle edge, as I age, the eyeshadow or the eyebrows are they're just more sparse. And so having an eyebrow pencil that is very fine precision tip is awesome for real close-up work. But for just a normal average day, I just need to get the job done. So the wider the pen, the more coverage I can get faster, and that's perfect. So I'm just gonna outline the top and the bottom of the brow, the outline that I want it to have, not the actual shape that it has today. And once I outline it and get sort of the shape that I want, then I'll just go back in and fill it in with little brow strokes. So you guys, have you been watching any new Netflix lately, or Amazon Prime, or Hulu, or Paramount, or HBO Max, or Peacock? I mean, it's crazy. It's so crazy. I think we have everyone except Discovery. But I have to say that we are really enjoying YouTube TV the most. And that's not just a plug for YouTube. That probably sounded really like promotional, but it wasn't. I like YouTube TV because of the wide variety of all those streaming services that I just named. I just feel like I have a much better, it's just a lot more to watch. So I'm loving that. Now that our eyebrows are done, I'm just gonna comb them kind of up and out. Now, if you like your brows to sort of have that up and out look, then you can take your spoolie in the end of your eyebrow brush and put a little spritz of hairspray. If you have hair gel, you could use a clear hair gel. There are just days your tongue and your brain are not on the same page. So then you can use a clear hair gel or a hairspray and just hold them into place. Now I am gonna go in with the Millani Glow. I highlighted this in one of the tinted moisturizers. And I'm gonna use this as, think of it as a primer for your eyeshadow. I think that's probably focused more on me. So I'm just gonna take just a little drop and I'm gonna put it on a synthetic brush because it's a liquid. And I'm just gonna dab that on my eyes as if it is a eyeshadow primer. Because again, I already neutralized that area, but now I want to give it a little bit of a healthy glow with just a hint of color. And I'm gonna go all over the eyelid from the outer corner up to the eyebrow, to the inside, all the way up to the eyebrow. So the whole eyelid. Now this is not called an eyeshadow primer, but it works just like an eyeshadow primer. It's gonna work to help moisturize your eyelids. You don't wanna use too much that whatever shadow you put slips. You just want enough to give a nice healthy glow. Next, what we're gonna do is go to our Blush Crush. This is by ColourPop, and I really enjoyed this a lot. Some really pretty nude colors, but more on the pink side. They're neutral enough that you could wear them if you have more of a warm tone or a cool skin tone. It comes in a really pretty box. I've just enjoyed the heck out of this palette. It's also in cardboard, but again, I'm fine with that. Spend money on the product. That's great. At this price point, happy to have that be the case. I'm gonna go in with this bottom color, which is called Cheek to Cheek. So if you don't have this palette, but you're doing this with me, then just look at your palette and go for the medium color, not your lightest and not your darkest, but just that medium color. We're gonna deposit that color right on the outer corner, and we're just gonna brush that up about halfway and no higher than where we would put a transition color. So try to stay below your brow bone, because we don't want this to really be too blown out in the beginning. We'll get there, but not yet. So it should look something like that before we start to blend it. And I like to do that, as you guys know, on both sides before my blending starts, so that I can make sure that I have the same angles. You're like, yes, Jodi, we know. You tell us that every time. But so this is somebody's first time watching, so I have to say it. So now that we've just got, again, halfway from the outer corner, lower lashes up to that socket, that part of the lid is what we've covered. All right, so now we'll take that same brush, just make sure it's real clean, and kind of blow that out. And all we're trying to do now that we've put the placement there is just blend the edges, just so it's a nice soft look. And then of course, when you get to the bottom part of your eyelash, just pull that out a little bit, just to give it a little bit of an out and lift. That helps elongate your eyes and gives them a little bit of a lift up. All right, so now that you've got that blended nicely, we are gonna go in with a wider tapered brush. And this is, you can see it's tapered at the end, and it's a pretty good sized brush. And with your palette, just take a look. If you don't have this palette, then just look at what is your next lightest color down. So for me in this palette, this is sort of that peachy color that we used. I'm gonna go up to this other matte color, which is called the One. It's more of a peachy cream color there. And I'm just gonna whitewash the color that we just placed. So cover all of that, and then the rest of my eyelid from corner to corner, and staying just in that eye socket. So you just wanna kind of melt all those colors together. It's like the toner you would use after you've had your hair bleached and then just need to tone it. It's kind of, that is the way I think about this. You can see you're just kind of softening it and giving it a nice, soft, melted look. Now we're gonna go back in with a small tapered brush, really small, and we're gonna go to the darkest color that is more on the matte side. So while this is the darkest color in the palette, it does have some shimmer and sparkle to it. So that's not the look I want. I wanna stick with as much mattes as I can until sort of the finishing touch. So I'm gonna go to this one. And the reason for that is because as our eyes mature, the more shimmer we have, the more, when it falls into fine lines and wrinkles, the more that is highlighted and accentuated. So I like to just stick with mostly mattes, and then at the end, I will add just a little bit of shimmer somewhere to bring some highlight and attention to the eye. But also with spring, that's part of the trend, is more glitter and shimmer. So I just like to touch it in there so it says, hey, I have a current look, but my eyes are not 19. So once you put the color where you want it, then I'm just gonna grab any one of my smaller blending brushes, because I don't wanna move this around. I just wanna fold it into the colors that are already there and moving that up. I don't wanna move it down farther on my face. I really just wanna keep it right in that line and just a soft blend. So that, again, you can't see where the edges start or where they stop. So have you guys picked up any cute drugstore palettes lately that you really like? If so, leave a comment down below if you wouldn't mind, so we can all kind of see what's out there, what people are liking. ColourPop just has a nice selection of colors in the eyeshadow realm. So next we're gonna go up to Lovesick, and just any brush is fine for this. We're gonna go just below our eyebrow bone with this color. And again, we're not looking to add color, we're just looking to even out the colors on our eyes so that it doesn't look as though we left out this section of our eyeshadow. Now that we've blended the darker color here and our eyebrow color, we're gonna go back in with this flat brush, and I'm just gonna spray it with a little bit of setting spray. And I use this e.l.f. one, you guys. This is the Dewy Coconut Setting Mist. And again, all these products will be listed down below in the description box. So I've added the setting spray to my brush just to have it be a little moist. And then I'm gonna go in with this Papa Bottle. Is that Papa? Yeah, Papa Bottle, which is the lightest that's in my palette. That is a shimmer color. So again, look at your collection. If you don't have all these colors in one, and you have other, if you have single eyeshadows, then find out which one is sort of your lightest of your colors that you've used on your face that has some shimmer in it. Now, the other thing, if you're trying to figure out what palette to use or what shadows to use, then line your shadows that you want to wear up with your blushes that you want to wear, just to see if those tones are somewhat similar. And then that will also help you figure out what is the right lip color that you want to wear. And I do that before I start. I put it all together just like an interior designer would, sort of to look at the different textures and tones and colors and just look at them all together to see if the tones are all the same. So now that we've got that on our brush, I'm just gonna put it right along my lower lash line, about the halfway mark, almost right in the center, and then bring it in to the corner of my eye. And I don't wanna do a lot of rubbing. I really wanna pat it here, because if you rub it, the little pieces of glitter can go in a lot of different directions. If I pat it with the brush being moist, it's gonna help stay. So you can see it just adds a little bit of glitter. I feel like, and maybe it's because of the camera, that I wanna go back in with a little bit of that darker color again, just to give a better contrast. You don't have to do this part. I just don't feel like it's showing up in camera as well as I'd like it to. And then just blend that just like we did. But I don't want to cover that glitter that we just added. Okay, so from there, I'm just going to go back in and take a little bit more of my foundation, aka concealer, and add just a few dots. And this is where I really love this Real Techniques beauty sponge. Because of that straight line, I can just dab and use that to clean up my edges. So that is why these are my favorite. So moving on to our lashes, if you curl your lashes, this is a good time to do that. If you don't curl your lashes, then you can skip this part. I like to just curl them at the bottom and then just kind of crimp them up to give them more of that out look versus that one hard crimp. And then they go straight up, because that just does not look natural to me. Now just reach for any of your darker eyeliners, and by darker I mean if you have dark skin tone, you'll want to go for more of that black so that there is a good contrast to the eye. If you have lighter skin, then maybe a brown or a light brown, dark brown, depending of how intense you want this look to be. I'm going to grab black just because I think it's easier to pick up on camera, and I don't know what I will do. It's early in the day, so I will just want to have a bolder look throughout the duration of the day. So I'm just going to start from that outer corner and just flick it up a little bit, and then bring it back down to about the halfway of my eye, and then blend it, start to move it into my lashes at the halfway mark. So from right here in, that's where I just sort of let it disappear. And we'll do both sides. I prefer little feathery strokes, I think, and then sometimes I find that I like to just do one, and I trust myself more with one straight line. You guys, it doesn't look any different. There's no right or wrong way. It's really about what feels most comfortable. And then of course we'll always go back and clean that up. I have the biggest bruise on my arm, and I have no idea how that happened. And we're getting older, stuff like that just happens. Next we'll go back to that brush that you used for your little tiny darker spot when we were doing this part right here. And just clean that off to make sure that there's no color left on it. And grab your bronzer, whatever bronzer you typically wear, or in this case, I'm gonna grab this Millani palette that we started with earlier, and I'm gonna grab the bronze, which is this color right here. If you use the Hoola from Benefit, that could be a good bronzer for this. We're really gonna use this as an under eye shadow, and we just want this brush, because we don't wanna be super precise. We just want a soft, natural look. And we're just gonna take that right underneath our eye, below the lashes, and go to where the lashes stop. Okay, just like that. Just to give a little bit of shadow under there. Now you don't wanna go too low, because that then starts to look like you've got sort of some heavy bag under your eyes, and we've just spent time putting color corrector and concealer on top of it. But we do wanna add some definition to that lower eye shape. And then I'm gonna go back in, and if you only want to add one layer to clean this up, that's totally fine. I just find that once I put that concealer there or that foundation and I hold my face and do my bottom lashes, I just find a little bit of a fingerprint on each side. Now you could wait till it was all done and do this one time. I don't do that. I don't know why. I think it's because I have to see how it is looking each step of the way. So I like to go back and do this at the end of each step, knowing that I'm going to rub it all off on my fingers anyway. But you don't have to do it as many times as I do. Okay, and then from there, we'll just add some mascara. I am gonna use the Voluminous by L'Oreal. This is their waterproof. And because it's waterproof, I'm only gonna do 2 coats of mascara. Typically I would do 3 coats, being the third one would be waterproof, but because this is waterproof, I am just gonna do 2. And part of that is because this is not a look where I want a real heavy lash. I just want a nice soft lash to complement the soft eyeshadow combo that we're wearing. And this mascara has been around for so long, and it is just one that I find I reach for, especially this time of the year. If you live in a warm climate, this is a good mascara to always have on hand. I find that it doesn't transfer even in humid climates. Now, and hold on, because this is gonna rock everybody's world, because you know I don't normally do this. Because it's spring and we want sort of that youthful, new beginning, fresh look, I am going to do my lower lashes, which I normally do in the spring, but just the outer, I would say third, maybe half, but not farther in than half. I don't want the lowest part of my eye to be pulled down any further. So at the lowest point of my lower lash line, that is where I stop with the mascara and go back up in that opposite direction. So isn't that just a nice, fresh, I don't wanna say it's a flirty look, because I mean, I don't wanna be flirty, but it's just a nice, fresh, happy, sunshine look. Does that even make sense? I don't know, but that's what came into my head all of a sudden. All right, so I hope you guys are liking the look that you are creating so far. I bet it looks fantastic on you. Playing with these different colors and just knowing, do you want to wear more mattes with just a touch of shimmer? Where do you want to build those darker colors from the outside coming in? It's all just so fun because there's no rules to it. So I hope you are doing this with me and that you're creating this beautiful spring look. We are gonna finish off with our lips because they are excited to be out and be seen this spring, and we're gonna go with this Dusty Mauve. Is it Dusty Mauve? Yes, Dusty Mauve by NYX. Really pretty. That's a nice soft mauvey pink color, but it's dark enough to give us that sort of 90s inspired spring trend, which is a darker liner with a lighter lip. So I'm just gonna outline my lips. Slightly overline because we can. Now this is definitely more on the cool rosy side. I think if you want something more on the warm rosy side, this Millani All Natural is a warmer rosy color. If you have darker skin, then depending on how much darker your skin tone is than mine, that's how many shades darker you'd want to go with something like these colors if you're wanting the same look. Next I'm going to grab the Millani Keep It Full. And this is in number 8, Soft Rose. This is a nice gloss, but it's not a super high shine gloss, but it's just enough to be shiny. We don't want the shine on our lips to compete with that glitter that we put on top. And since this is pretty shiny, then you just don't want a high gloss here because then it just becomes too much. So if you didn't do as much shimmer on your eyelid, you could definitely go more glossy on your lips if you prefer your lips to be a little bit more of the star of the show. And our final step before spraying with a setting spray to ensure that this lasts is I'm gonna go back in with the brush that I used for my blush because it's got that angle on it, and it's fine if it has a little bit of blush left on it. I'm gonna go into this bronzer, and again, you can use whatever bronzer you want, but I'm just gonna go with this bronzer because it's what we put under our eye. And I don't wanna contour, I just wanna give a little bit of a sun-kissed look to the skin. So I'm gonna start around my hairline, just where the sun would touch. And I'll spend a little bit more attention right through here. I'm not trying to contour or create a jawline, but I'm just gonna add a little contour right there because that would be a little darker than underneath the neck because of where the sun would be kissing you. So just a little bronze. And if you want some more highlighter, I mean, who doesn't? Then you can always go back into your highlight palette and get a little bit more. And if you like a really bright highlight or whew, here come my cheeks, then you could use a little bit of setting spray on your highlighter brush and do the same process that we did for our eyes. I'm just gonna add a little bit to my fingers. I mean, look how pigmented that is. That's really, really pretty. It's more of a gold. Yeah, it's definitely more of a gold and can look flattering on almost any look. Now, because this is more cool tones from the eyeshadow, I think this will be a nice soft contrast, but not so much so that it looks like I didn't plan it out very well. And I've had those makeup days where I'm like, oh, I love this blush color. Let me put it on. Oh, I love this highlight. Let me put it on. Oh, I love this eyeshadow, but not coordinating any of them together, just looking at them as individual sections of the face. And ooh, did I pay for it when I got out in the light and looked closely in the mirror. You could always go back in with more mascara. You don't have to. You know, it's just kind of, lashes are just sort of my thing. I wish I could do lash extensions. I wash with coconut oil, so I can't. But I'm really excited about that new Revitalash mask for my lashes. That looks like a fantastic product. And if it works as good as the Revitalash does, then we might have a home run for lashes. And I'm gonna wait a second for that to dry, that mascara, before I close my eyes and then add moisture to it from the setting spray, because that will be a disaster and we'll have to break out the concealer again. But by and large, you guys, that is the look. Now, we did it in, I don't know, maybe close to 25 minutes. I don't know, we'll see when I edit the video. But all in all, I think it's fun just to play with some spring colors. So make sure that's dry enough, and then voila. So we have a little bit of highlight, we have a little bit of bronze, but by and large, we just have some nice, pretty spring colors. Now, I do want to say, I've been asked about the clothes that I wear, so I just want to highlight, this is just a spring shirt. You can move this on the shoulder, you could wear it off the shoulder if you wanted, which would be pretty fun with like a little choker like I have it. Maybe a more bold choker would look cute. And then it's a bodysuit. Now, what I love about this bodysuit is just below it, because hello, do we not just love high-waisted jeans coming back? But what I love about this bodysuit is it has this meshing under it, so it looks as though, you know, cheerleader pantyhose or ballerina pantyhose or gymnastic pantyhose. That's sort of what this is, and you only can tell that because of that little seam right there. Other than that, it just looks like you've got, you know, nice skin and a nice little tan. So it goes all the way around the back, and I love it. So this is by ASTR. Yeah, ASTR, and I believe I got it at Nordstrom. I'll look and I'll link it down below if I can find it. So much stuff that I go to link for you guys in the clothes department is sold out, sold out, sold out. So I don't know how long we are going to be dealing with supply chain shortages, but I apologize if some of the fashion that I link below is no longer available. Even some of the cosmetics that I've just bought recently is no longer available. So I know that's really frustrating for you, as it is for me as well. So I try to buy stuff fast and get it out to you fast so that it is still available. But things will return to normal at some point, whatever normal is. Thanks so much for watching. Please share this with other girlfriends of yours that you think might be interested in a fun spring look, and like the video if you liked it, and then subscribe if you haven't, because I'd love for you to be a subscriber. Thanks so much, everyone. Enjoy this fresh look, enjoy your week, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.